there, and we kind of got sidetracked and over in that, and just go back to the engagement with the builder. I mean, let's say I am
your first engagement, your first.
Yeah, maybe not the job that I'm on here at the moment with the vacant property grant, but just a greenfield site, and I have my mortgage approval, and I have got an idea of a house.
Okay, so in that scenario, you've mortgage approval, means you have your drawing plan and everything is through. So at that stage, you're going to have.
Okay, so go before that. So what happens when I only want
prices? Well, at that stage, you'll have drawings. So if you've got planning through, which is the right time to go looking for a builder. Okay. In that scenario, that's a new build. Even if it's an extension, that needed planning, you have the drawings, right? Yeah. Which means you have 4 or 5 drawings on your computer somewhere with what was granted planning. There might not be a scope of works with that. Okay, so what that would mean is you'll have what the building's to look like when it's done.
That's your plan, your elevation. Is it your side elevation?
Correct.
Basically what people are going to see from the outside.
Yes, and the realistic conditions from the planning authority, which would say, like, if the septic tank went in, what type of septic tank, if the front door is to be hardwood, if there's stone, where the stone is from, that'll be in the planning conditions attached to that planning application. It's all available online anyway, but so when I get a phone call, the first thing after my the first 5 minutes of a little bit of over and back where things are, I'll have found that information out that you've got planning. I'm going to ask you to email a set of those plans through. Okay. Right? And then I'll see what detail is in them. Depending on the architect, there could be a full scope works on that drawing. Some of the local architects here do that. Some of them, it'll just be the minimum to get planning. Okay. So there wouldn't even be a cavity type shown, wall makeup.
Yeah.
Because that's not necessarily a requirement to get you planning. That's what you need for tendering. So depending on what drawings come through, then I'll come back to you then with questions. Right? So
I've sent you the bare necessities for the plan.
Well, you've sent me all you have.
Yeah. And you said enough? You don't have it. So what are you sending me
at that point? Then you can. I'll be asking. One of my questions is the architect or engineer that got you these plans involved from now on?
Okay.
Right. So if it's a house, yes, somebody is.
How often is that? Yes.
90% of the time, I'd imagine. So that's because the money you don't have. Sorry, you're borrowing the money. So when you're borrowing the money, straight away somebody signed off on the project.
Okay.
To the bank. And then you've engaged the professional services of an architect, engineer, or whoever, building surveyor, whoever, to bring you to the next stages. Yeah. So then, at that point, then I'll say, well, this fella's going to have to prepare more tender documents for you.
Yeah.
And then you get more, it's a bit premature, but I'd be able to feed you through that. So,
yeah. So they're construction drawings, really, then, that you're looking at.
Correct. You're looking at steel beams in roof steel, rebar in the foundation, type of cavity, types of insulation.
Those hollow core or Jarson or whatever.
Yeah, it'd be your certain type. That'll give you all the insulation. All these documents then will follow. But you'll have engaged your architect normally. You've had some engagement with him, and that stuff is coming down the line. So it's rare I'd be telling you, hang on a second now, there's not enough information here. No, but it does happen. So I will then price it one or two ways. I'll either do it myself, depending on the value of the project. That's my own way of doing it. So I'll know by looking at the job on a scale when it starts like your speedo, where it hits a point, I go, right, I'm out. This is going to QS to price,
because 3 or 4% of an error
risk
will be a huge amount of money.
Correct.
Yeah. So where 3 or 4% of an error on
under 100k is 3 or 4 grand. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's just there's a point there where I look at the project, go through it, and say, right, I'm able to price that myself, or I'm not. And then depending on the type of project, domestic stuff can be easier, commercial stuff can be trickier, depending on specifications. Yeah. So then we prepare a document. It'll be 2 pages generally, and it'll start off with the project name on the top. This is what you're going to expect back. This is what I'd imagine you expect back off your builder, because this is what I give back.
Okay.
So it's a 2-page document, not one line with the price on it. All right?
Yeah.
It starts off with the project name on the top, the client's name, and then it's going to have a list on the left-hand side of items and a list on the right-hand side of costs. Okay? We start off with, the first one we always call is preliminaries. That is an outline cost of what it's going to cost the contractor to run the project, and it will take into things like getting rid of waste, scaffolding, insurance, travel, diesel, and also in there will be where the project is. So if it's on the street, in the main street in town, it's going to cost a lot of money because you've no material storages, all that kind of thing. Everything has to be brought to site as needed. So that cost will go in there versus if it's in the countryside and the local provider can keep dropping everything over the fence.
Yeah.
And every day your materials are magically on site.
Yeah.
Reduce costs. All those costs, what it costs to run that job, and management is in that.
Yeah.
In that prelims. So that's what that means. Preliminary costs. And then in R1 it starts off if there's demolitions, alterations, removals, and then we'll start excavations. We start from the bottom up. So site excavations, foundations,
the site excavation
or as if,
that must be a kind of a, like, you always hear these stories of, we hit rock or something has gone wrong. Like, I suppose
so that's perfect. And then we'll have at the end of so that we'll run down through all those items to be subtotal.
So will you go
I'll run through about 15 to 20
raft,
items.
steel, all of this.
You get about 15 to 20 items depending on the complexity of the project, starting off from the ground up through the roof, and then the finishes. It'll all be in sequence of how we do the project.
Right.
That's how we provide the price back. Starting at, again, demolitions or excavations that depend on the project, run through, they'll all have some sort of superstructure, whatever type of, ICF, timber frame, whatever it is. We'll run through all those, and at the end will be tiling, right down to tiling, painting, if there's a stove, solar, all the finishy stuff, EV charging points, depending on that type of stuff, runs down to the bottom. Subtotal, total cost, and then what's excluded or included underneath that.
Yeah.
So generally ourselves, and it'd be common enough, definitely around here, the guys we price against, is to, that sanitary ware is not supplied by the builder because there's such a range.
Personal choice.
You can buy a toilet for £100, and I've seen toilets for €2,500 locally for sale.
Wow.
So that's toilets. Wooden floors again, because you can buy a laminate floor for €15-16 square metre. And we fitted floors this year that were €200 square metre. Wow. That's the range there. Minimum. That's at least the range there. We normally include for standard stairs, even though you can spend $3,000 or $20,000 on a staircase, but we would, generally include that because stairs definitely needed. So fitted furniture again would be excluded. The kitchen, wardrobes. Again, there's such a range. You could spend $10,000, or the sky's the limit on a kitchen. And then what's included, which even though we have prelims written at the top, we will write down that scaffolding, waste removal, insurance. We still write down 5 or 6 items at the bottom to just saves. When people get this document, I suppose they've been waiting for a while, and then when they get it, at least it's reasonably comprehensive without giving away every single thing, as well. That, I mean, it's too easy to give it to another builder and say, well, that's how much he is. And he look at it and goes, I can do this better than that, and I can do that better than that, and it's just a bit not paddy whack. What's the, look at this thing he's give. It's like, you can ring us back then and ask us, by our email would prefer, and we'll answer any other questions. But the ground, what we do is rock. It's not included unless to be specifically like outcrops of rock on the site that when we visited the site we've seen them. Generally we know the lay of the land around here where there's rock and there isn't rock. And the other one is that what we have is stone filling over. What I do is 450 millimeters. So I've allowed that, which so that'd be an average that you're getting at least 300 mil of stone everywhere. And we'll go for these excavations that we talked about. So that's what we do.
Would that be included in the driveways and that?
Correct. So that's what I allow for. I allow a blanket of on
do
average.
You finish carbon.
We do, of course.
Garden walls,
footpaths, everything completely. Paving, the lot, every single. We'll fully, and I prefer to fully finish.
And what if in my situation then I come around and said, look, Chris, I'm able to do the blocks. I'm able to whatever, or I've got somebody in there. Would you prefer?
Personally, that type of project doesn't interest us as much. It's harder to control how long it's going to take. Not necessarily the quality of the work, because I know that.
But if you're saying, the brother's an electrician and he's going to come down and do that.
We're doing projects at the minute where we're working for an electrician, so he's going to do that himself.
Do you
know what I mean? And we're doing projects for mechanical company, they're going to do that themselves. Like that, they're a mechanical, client is a mechanical contractor. So that happens. Yeah, and we do that. Or painting. The more common things would be to take out the painting, possibly the tiling. Builders don't want to do tiling for you, and they don't want to do painting. There is no money in a project, not at all, for doing painting and tiling. No, that's not. That is something any builder. The majority of builders would turn around only too happy, and not do the painting, the tiling, wooden floors. I'd say they'd be quite happy because we put on wooden floors. Like we talk some of the values there, floors up to 200 euros square metre. Realistically, like 70, 80 is kind of upper model, really. Like, go down to 80 euros square metre floor and you're charging 20, 25, 30 euro square metre to lay it. Then you have to protect it. Everybody in their dog's going to walk over that for the next month or two while you're finishing off the project. Then you're going to lift up all that plastic and the homeowner's going to go...
And she'll scrape there. And
scrape there beside the fireplace. And like, they could have their own fireplace fitted by themselves. Yeah. It could have been the Wi-Fi guy that came in at the end. Or it could have been your own tiler that walked over 10 times and dropped a tile. You know, so like there's huge risk there for contractors. And I suppose probably people will say they charge accordingly and maybe that might be true as well. I'm not, but no, a builder would quite happily not price a lot of that finishing work. But the client wants...
But that's a lot of work. It's for you to pick up the... in relation
job
to...
pricing.
Per job pricing,
yeah.
But I suppose that's the professional service that you are...
That we definitely try to offer ourselves anyways, and that's, and we get that project we'll carry through with the same professionalism the whole way through. So you get that document back off your builder and you should sit on it, look at it, have a cup of tea, read it.
Would they be bringing that to the bank, or would they've had would there be times when they'd be using that and you'd be getting
absolutely
tied into a contract then, or drawing up a contract from that there, or
not?
What?
Yeah. It's a potential that's I suppose is the next route is you've either frightened them because they didn't realise how much the cost was going to be. I mean, that's not just... And it's not like...
And would it be a thing that they'd go and they'd say, look, we're going to reduce... We're going to take the garage off that, or we're going to...
Yeah.
We're now looking at a 3-bed house instead of a 6-bed house.
No, not the house. No, because the planning's got through in the house, so they may not finish upstairs.
Could they go back and change their planning?
Planning is so hard got, and it's so difficult to get for one-off housing in the countryside, particularly that that's not a runner. But what they will do is not finish upstairs, not finish a section of the house, not finish the garage, not do the outside.
Yeah.
And by giving me that, like I'll give them, there'll be a landscaping section where I've allowed maybe 7-8K to do some outside works, and we'll at that stage, if we're on the money, if people like that breakdown, we'll give them back, and we're close. They'll go through that and they'll red pen what they don't like, and hopefully we'll get a phone call or an email back saying, Chris, you're not a million miles away. You never get told you're the odds on favourite. You're not a million miles away, Chris. Can we have a chat? You'd say you'd love to. You go and meet them. You might probably already met them already, probably once, or looked at the site or something. And if you've impressed them or you've impressed upon them that that they like you, you'll go back for a chat and you'll see where you can save them. You say, and if people ask me with honest opinion, I built my own house. I didn't finish upstairs fully, but I plastered and I done the electrics and I put the heating working up there, and then I left it until we had the money to go upstairs. At the time, that's the way we done it. I don't see any issue with anybody doing that in the world, God. Make the place safe, heat it, and walk away till you have the funds in place to finish the project. And the same with outside. You can do a very simple finish outside with stone and timber curb and a lawn, and come back and spend your heart's content outside and as much money as you can gather or garner in a few years' time, and finish outside the way you want. But the stuff you finish inside, finish it properly once. Put in a proper kitchen, do your couple of bathrooms properly, your bedrooms and stuff like that.
And everything that's hidden, finish that. Like
well, if you can't afford to do a couple of rooms and you don't just need them, don't do them. And finish your first fix electric, your second fix electric and mechanical properly. And if you don't need a bathroom, then the service can be capped and left until a lot of houses now have 3 or 4 bathrooms. It's just not a requirement until they might be having these kids for a few years' time. So they don't need them, and go back and do that. That's it. It's easy for me to say that now. I done that. I was there with the low budget, because I was young when I built my house and I just couldn't get. And I'm glad I didn't the way it worked out. But that's the way we done it. It's fine. Our house is finished. No one lost any sleep. It's you know what I mean. So you get the price back for your builder. Engage with them. you got him to price in the first place for a reason. Maybe you met him and you didn't like him, and that's enough reason not to bother getting back to him. That's fine. And if you did like him, or two, and you have two quotes similar, talk to the person. See, they might have. Don't forget now, your project in your house is your most important thing in your life right now. And to the builder who's doing 5 houses or 10 or 40, it's just another job he hasn't got yet.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And he doesn't know that you mightn't like the roof light out the back that's cost you $5,000, or that stone on the front is thin stone, not natural stone, and there's there's routes around that, or that the bifold doors could potentially be a lift and slide. So there's all those things.
Yeah.
Have a chat with him. If you're going to get close, definitely worth sitting down half an hour and chat through these things with them and see where everything is. And again, if the budget isn't there at the minute, ask him where he sees he could help you out, and that'll be by knocking off something like the garage, the footpaths, what he'd do. Don't do a bedroom, don't do a bathroom, and he'll tell you then that bathroom might be saving you 3K, 4K, whatever it is, and a bedroom. You won't save an awful lot with a bedroom because you're kind of, you're not fitting it out.
4 walls, really, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's bathrooms are kind of a key one. There's a good bathroom, and maybe even putting in the stairs. If you don't need upstairs, it's nice to have the room, nice to be able to get up there, depending on the budget where you sit. Put paths at the front of the house only, get the house finished so it looks nice and neat and safe coming in. Don't do the back. All those things we talked about. If you have a good feeling about the builder, the price is reasonable enough, and you can hash out the bottom line and get going on site and get moving. Or it's the full project, full steam ahead, and you're doing it all and you're happy. And a great question to ask a builder is how do you feel about extras? Do you see any pitfalls? And you're sitting down to, a bit of it's not definitely a marker or a warning, but you're getting a good feel for each other, saying, if he's going to say, if he straight away says, geez, no, I don't see anything major here, or he starts saying, I don't like the look of all that steel in the attic, or something, or I've used that architect before, or that engineer before, and that fella loves steel, and that fella loves this or he loves that, and a couple of alarm bells maybe for the client to say, this builder now is going to come after me and say there's twice the steel is going to go into the attic than he'll price for. Things like that. You get a good feeling for that yourself as a builder, and you're street smart enough as a client. You're that conversation and how you both come away from that, it's a feeling how the project's going to go for you. It's a great indication at the start of the job. That's what you expect, at least 10 to 15 line items back from your builder, or it's going to be very hard to compare to someone else. Ideally, you send a bill of quantity. You go to an estimating company, get a bill of quantities done for your house, send that to everybody. That's going to be your whole. That's absolutely the best solution. You could pay €1,000 for that bill of quantities. Probably what clients should do, because that's taking it off the builder all the risk.
And there's no ambiguity then in what's priced and what's not priced and what is there.
But that just doesn't tend to happen. And I'm talking about the real world now, not not that we don't get bill of quantities. We get them a lot because we do a lot of work. An awful lot of our work will come off architects that we normally work with. A pool of about 8 or 10 architects between Casper and Westport, and further afield, Ballina. There's a quite large company down there. We do a lot of work for an architectural company, but they would send you, depending on the client, how much the client wants to spend. They'll get a bill of quantities done up about $1,000 or so, for argument's sake. You get done less. Look, it is what it is, and then you send it out to builders, and you'll get that back quicker.
Okay, because you're taking the work out, you're doing a bit of work for them.
You're taking the risk off the builder. He is pricing the same as all the other builders.
Okay.
So he's not pricing for gold-plated anything.
What he thinks is,
yes.
There's no thinking in it.
It's taking the risk out of the builder's hands, and to get the price document back, that's it. Everything's in that. So if a builder sits down to price job and he forgets to add the bloody septic tank in, he's looking at 4 or 5K of a loss, and he won't see that till his boots hit the ground. Yeah. And then he's going through it and he's going, hang on a second now, I have pipe work in here, but where did I put in the septic tank? And I didn't. All that risk has gone off the builder. So you're not sitting down doing the job going, geez, I better add on a couple of grand here now to make sure I didn't forget something upstairs is being painted, or that I didn't allow enough tile and I forgot 4 walls in the whatever, and I didn't allow enough tile in there. So you're taking all that risk. Ideally, that's what a lot of builders would like. Not some builders won't. Everyone's different. But You give a bill of quantities to a builder, you're going to get same back everybody else. Or everyone's the same playing field, and that's what you're getting back. Or you get as much information you can get back off a builder. If you're getting 1 or 2 lines back off a builder, the quote's no good to you. It's nothing.
Yeah.
You need 10 or 15 lines.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I recently got a photograph of a 5-digit number on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
That's the price.
Yeah. So
underlined, you know,
I mean, that's
and
just,
that was for electrical work.
Yeah.
And
what's included,
like,
what's not included, you know.
Not a clue.
No, is chasing included? There's a million questions just on electrical alone. Never mind the whole building. Can you imagine what a 400k house if you're not getting 15 lines back? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What good is that to you? Like, do you know when for argument's sake, 10 to 15 grand quote for a house and you're getting 1 line back? Is chasing included?
Yeah.
You know, lighting, amount of lights, sockets. Like the minimum you'll be getting back in electrical quote is the number of sockets.
Yeah.
Even if it's the whole project, the number of lighting points, switches, that the kitchen is included. You know, electric car charging point.
Yeah.
You know, is there
outside lights? Is there a gate? Is there
how many lights per room? Recessed lighting, gate, power to a gate, power to the boiler, stats, room stats. Big one that's lost like a bit in translation again, and the wiring of all the mechanical gear and pumps. Nowadays, it's just, you know, a complete. I know electrical companies that just have a guy that does heating controls and wires up the heating because it's that complicated in some houses. Yeah. Yeah, if you have a combination of underfloor heating, first floor rads, towel rads, solar, like that, all them systems are working at the same, you know what I mean? You need somebody that can do it. Yeah, air to heat pumps. Like it's another element of, but like heating controls, thermostats, room stats.
Yeah.
Like it's you could have a room set in each room with underfloor, or you know, depending on the system, you need a level of a quote back. I would expect as a builder anyway.
Yeah. And that starts the conversation, and it starts
bingo.
It starts where you see us, where we can push back, or where something. Or maybe you haven't gotten this.
Now there's another element that you don't want to push the builder too far away either, and bombard them with.
Yeah.
And it's a fine line, and I can't. Everyone has a limit, you know. But if you have a client come back to you for a fight, you know.
But this is my dream house. This is what I've been. This is what you know.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly.
I've been saving for this for the last.
And it is. It's a good
years,
spending potentially, you know, 300, 400, 500k. Like I don't. They should definitely have questions, but to just before you've got the builder, you need all this information. You can't, you know, unless, as you say, you had a very good point. You know, we were chatting about, should you pay for this quote? If you do, you'd expect that level back, but you're not.
There you go.
You're not paying for it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So this is all at the builder's, you know, free will to provide all this information to you. So if you keep pushing him and he has another 10 projects on the desk, are you going to get pushed aside potentially? You know, it's not really something I do myself. I'd have in my pre-qualification questions when I'm going to even look at this, how far together we're going to go on this journey, I'll have sussed a lot of this out. And if I've engaged with you, I will go the full mile until I'm told I've either got the project or not. That's the way I do it. Everybody's different. You have to have a screening system. I mean, any industry,
of course,
do it. That's you know what I mean. Yeah. Tire kickers and
excellent.
You know.
Oh look, in the trade I'm in at the moment, yes, we certainly have clients who promise the world but don't deliver yet. Yeah.
All right.
Brilliant.
So
and are we? So then you're once you've got that, then you're ready to start.
You've got your last 2. You got 3 quotes. One of them was outrageous or way below par. You got 2 fellas that look all right. Their numbers shouldn't be a million miles away.
Yeah.
One fella shouldn't be €64,000 for blocks and the other fella 34.
Yeah.
There's something wrong. Which one of them I don't know, but there's something wrong. It's an alarm bell. One fella should not be 12,000 for electric and 22,000. One fella shouldn't be 29k for mechanical and 49. You know what I mean? There should be some.
So they've either made a mistake or they haven't done. Yeah,
that's all you can pick out. You got 2 quotes. There's 15 items on each. They're not going to be 15 the same because you haven't given them bill of quantities. You've allowed them to come back with their information because they're doing it for free. And but there's items that mechanical, electrical. they're going to be on, should be on both.
Yeah.
Blockwork should be on both.
Yeah.
The roof should be on both.
Yeah.
Do you know, windows and doors should be on both, you'd imagine.
Yeah.
So these windows and doors, it could be a big difference, because you can go with an Irish supplier, you know, or Polish suppliers. You know, this is all, there's such a range of windows from UPVC, double glazing that still meets building regs, to triple glazing aluminium, you know, and aluclan. So builders probably price for UPVC, triple glaze, meet the regs, but there could still be a huge difference between the price and the windows in particular. But everything else, like the roof should, you know, roof works should be similar. So you can pick out items, compare them.
And the likes of the roof there, they will have had the chat and they'll have worked out, you're having natural slates or you're having...
Well, it should be on the drawings. From the scenario we started talking about, planning drawings, the planning will say that it has to be natural slate, depending on where it is in the country, for whatever reasons, or fibre cement, and it should be, that'll be on the drawing. And if it isn't, and the builder allows something, then you have to ask him what that was. So you've not wasted 10 builders' time, you've narrowed it to 2, and you've sat down with them and said, well, what slates? You've got drawn in front of you. Have the drawings with you when you meet the builder and his quote. And the other one committed to some sort of memory. You know, because you're not going to take it out in front of the builder you're talking to. And go through, start the roof. So what have you allowed for the roof? It's right on the drawing, like it's pen, it's ink. Never refused it before. Do you know what I mean? He is allowed this. He is allowed that. Stone, blocks, what type of insulation in the cavity. You know, the drawings are there. The questions will ask themselves. You're reading the drawing to him, and he's telling you the answer. In a bit like what we're doing here right now. Do you know what I mean? And you took out the site, and what's it been left like outside, and you're finished. You have a site plan. Is that what's been left like? You know, I get asked these questions at the end of a job. You know, have you allowed to put footpaths in? Like, we've built the bloody house for you, like. Do you know what I mean? Have you not allowed to put footpaths in for you or not? And it happens, like. Do you know, it happens all the time. These things happen. Like, and I'm not laughing at the client. I mean, it's just... You know, they don't know, they're not builders. That's why you're there. But at the same time, they're
not going to employ 10 builders in their lifetime.
Correct.
They're going to employ one for one job.
Quite often, we often build houses for people that built the first one themselves and deliberately are getting it built the second time.
Right.
That just shows you
just
that
because it was
just never doing it again.
Stressful.
Building a house, my own house personally was probably the most stressful thing. One of the most stressful things anyways I ever done. And I build a lot of houses now. In the meantime, I've built an awful lot of houses and commercial projects and different things, hospitals and schools and everything. And my own house was hands down the most because it was my money. And I understand that. I understand what the people I'm working for is going to because I've done it. And it's my money and every penny had to be accounted for because we only had so much and we had to do so much. You know, absolutely, You get your quotes back. You talk to your builder. Go in and think about it. Weigh it all up and have a chat with them. And another very important question is how soon, how long it's going to take, how soon can you start, you know, can we expect what kind of flow of two things, work is going to happen, talk about the weather, but like it could take a year to build a house anyway. We're building houses, unfortunately they take longer. We had a hell of a last winter, probably no worse than others depending where the house is. All these other factors come in, sides of hills, mountains, looking at the sea, all these other things come in. You know, you can't build blocks, freezing like was it last year, coming up to Christmas there, froze like hell, like you know, knocked out 2 or 3 weeks of work for us.
You don't have to go to winter, like July and August, it was like
rain, So all the things, they're going to happen, you know, talk to that with them. Payments as well. Do you know, we generally we look to get paid every month. Now we don't always bill every month. So we didn't do a lot in a month because waiting for windows and the job slows down, or builders holidays or something like that. We don't, you know, but generally we bill once a month and get paid once a month on every job. That's kind of the cash flow, the whole thing. But payment terms, do you know what I mean? And that leads into a conversation I know me and you've had about the Derek grant. You know, that's a grant that's paid after the project is completed, and you need to have the money in place, the funds in place before you start to build the project. Your funding is your issue, not the builder's issue. He's not your bank. You know, he'll help you out a bit, and I always do, and there's grace periods in it at the start, particularly because you're probably not getting money off the bank until the foundation, the concrete's in. Awful lot of money spent to get to that point. The builder's doing that out of his own bank.
He's financing that project for the first while.
But you should be open. It's openly conversing about money. It's not a dirty word. It makes the world go round.
It flows. It keeps the whole industry going, doesn't it? Yeah.
It's just that's why everyone is there. You know what I mean? To get paid.
Yeah.
To go home, feed the family. All the men on site.
Bring the kids to the activities and that.
That's their wages. It's their money. That's the reality of it. It's not all going into the builder's pocket. Just because you're handing over 400k to someone, they're not putting that into their pocket.
No.
They're putting it into everybody else's.
Yeah.
It's an industry, and people get paid, and it's a livelihood. So talk to them about the payment terms. Be upfront. If the more okay you are all the way through, all right, because this is be a fairly decent tip. At the start, you don't have the money at all. It's in the bank.
Yeah.
He's spending his money to get your house foundation in. The next thing, your quid's in as a client. And you'll have money probably going forward all the time through your stage payments, which are certified by your architect, your bank, solicitor gets his cut out of it and gets you, deals with that element for the bank for you. You get your payments, you pay the builder. There's retention held normally. Maybe a bigger project, the lower the amount. But anyway, we'll talk about that some other time maybe. So you're holding back a bit of money on his work all the time. You're paying him. But at the end then, the whole thing has to be finished before you get the last check. Right. So it flips back again to the start where you don't have no money again as a client.
Yeah.
Right? But the builder is in a position where he has to finish the house for you.
Yeah.
So that you can get your money. Because you have to take photographs of it, sent to some banks, that's what they want. Or the bank sends someone out. The architect has to come out certified, and there's a type of green mortgage where you have to get a BR report done at the end. So everything has to be done and certified, and all the paperwork handed to the BR assessor, and the heat pump up and run, everything done. And then
basically living in the house nearly at that stage. Yeah.
And then you get your last drawdowns. Wow. So, or close to your last drawdown. There's different, by all different institutions of all different regulations, slightly different versions of regulations. And then, so you're hoping the builder will get the project finished for you without any money for a while.
Yeah.
Bit of a,
But you're saying if you've had a good open
relationship with him all the way through,
and you've been transparent and you've been known and he knows it's coming. Yeah. I'm waiting for this. And
you're going to get a lot more. You're going to get a lot more leeway than you're. People don't want the headaches. People aren't accountants. Like they've got this, and that's why it's so stressful. They've got this, and then they're trying to balance it all to get it all across the line, and they don't know what they're doing.
Well, you're learning. It's the first time.
The next one you build is be a cracker, but this is the one you're building. So and then that relationship might work. The better that relationship works all the way through, the better. And look, builders aren't always right. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. I personally am doing my best. Yeah. I can't speak for everyone else. But that's
but that's it's obvious from talking to you, the passion comes through.
Does it?
Yeah. So like you are doing your best, but your best is a lot better than some other people.
Possibly.
As well,
I can't. Yeah, fair enough. I can't count on everyone, but look, we do our best anyway. Definitely. Yeah. Try it anyway.